All right, welcome back, guys, to Terrier Owner. Today we are going to be covering a quick video about something I think you might be interested in, especially if you're on the fence about adopting a Jack Russell Terrier, or if you just adopted one and you're already going through this issue, which is barking. That's right. We're going to talk about barking with these Jack Russell Terriers. How do you stop it? What do you do to start kind of curbing it the opposite direction to make it more manageable? What are they going to bark at? What can you expect? All of those kinds of things. That is coming up next, and we will be right back. All right, now that we got that out of the way, let's start moving into barking and Jack Russell Terriers, what you can expect, and how you can start eliminating some of that annoying barking behavior. Hey guys, I do want to point out real quick as we're diving into this video about barking that I do have a related blog post on this topic that you can click on down in the description below. I have a link to terrierowner.com, which is the sister blog to this YouTube channel. So it's an entire post about barking, how to stop it. For those of you who would prefer to read, there's a good 10-page Word doc for you. Basically your how to shut a Jack Russell up in plain English. So be sure to visit that if you need additional help. And then any other recommendations I have for you if it comes to purchasing anything, I will have those links down in the description as well. So make sure you use those to your advantage. Go check out any of those recommendations and you will be good to go. So, do these Jack Russell Terriers bark a lot? Do you bark a lot, Luna? What do you think? Speak. You don't know that trick yet, do you? No. There's actually a dog barking about 2 houses down from us right now to give you kind of an idea here, and she's not barking at all, really. Well, not barking at all. I spoke too soon. Now that big guy on the other end of the yard, he barks. Alright guys, welcome back, and let's start diving into some of these specifics about Jack Russell Terriers and their barking tendencies. The first thing that I really want to point out with these guys right here is that yes, they do bark quite a bit, especially in the beginning before they know any better. I literally just tried for several minutes to get her to make any kind of noise just so I had some cool footage for this video, but she was not having it today. So I don't really have anything demonstrating her barking like a wild dog, but I can tell you that, when she was 6 to, 8, 9, 10 months old, her barking was much more profound and it took place a lot more. She has calmed down a lot since then. As you can see, my son here just kind of relaxing out in the backyard, hanging out with her. But there was some things that we did to get her to stop barking, which I'll dive into here shortly. The important thing to know is that it does take a little bit of work to get them to that point to where they're not barking as much as they did when they were young puppies. So when will you experience a Jack Russell barking the most frequently, or what causes them to get stimulated in that manner to where the barking really comes out and becomes a little bit of a nuisance? Well, you have a few things. First, you have the attention-seeking bark, which is typically going to take place when they're inside of a crate or when there's interaction taking place that they cannot be a part of. One of the best examples I can give you for that is if you take a look at these windows right here in my house. So you got these 2 big windows here, and then right on the other side, you've got this big glass door. That's the main room that I keep the dogs in, especially if we have company over in the backyard, or if my son wants to play basketball without her jumping everywhere or running quick circles around the yard, we'll keep the dogs in that room. Hard surfaces, there's nothing for them to hurt. There's a couch for them to lounge on, that kind of thing. That's when she'll bark sometimes, is because she's mad that she doesn't get to come out and play with the rest of us. So that's one example. Example 2 of when you're going to experience barking with a Jack Russell Terrier is when they enter protective mode, which in all honesty, she is more protective of that little 4-year-old right there than she is me. It was honestly pretty shocking how much they grew together. I didn't anticipate that with her being a Jack Russell. I didn't know how it would go with him only being 4, both of them being pretty wild, but it's gone pretty well. But if there's a mailman or somebody who comes a knocking, you're going to get some barking out of them, especially if you haven't trained them to stop that behavior. That's a prime time when you're going to start getting that audible vocalization out of these guys. Number 3 for when you're going to see these guys bark is on walks. When you're first starting to teach them how to walk properly, walk next to you, or walk in a calm fashion, any kind of stimulus is going to get these guys to yap. I can't tell you it's a different kind of bark. It's almost like a scared, I don't know what this is bark, but she will do that. She, especially with rollerbladers, bicyclists, and when it's a large group walking another dog, like the entire family, she will bark at them. She'll stop walking for a second, almost kind of get behind me to find out what's going on, and she will start barking. That's definitely one of the most annoying times, because it's relatively embarrassing when the good dogs are walking through the neighborhood and yours is the one acting kind of crazy. But that is also one of the ones that you can work on the fastest to get them to stop barking, because you can walk them every day and you can start training them with treats, with clicker training, or even with bark collar training. Whatever the case may be, it gets way better. But that was one of the most frequent times I would have to deal with her barking, was on walks when other things would kind of freak her out a little bit. Throw vehicles into that mix too. Those definitely can make them bark. They're a little bit scared of vehicles in the beginning. And then the last scenario with barking that I want to throw out there is going to be about crate training. The barking in the beginning of crate training was terrible. They will howl, bark, scream, act like dinosaurs inside of a cage they don't want to be inside of. It is pretty bad when you first start crate training. Maybe it was just me. I honestly have no idea, but for the first few nights of that, she would howl and bark all night long. She doesn't ever do it now, which is awesome, but be prepared for that to be one of the most common times that you're going to hear these guys bark. All right, so what can you do as the owner to prevent barking with Jack Russell Terriers? Or what should you be doing to start eliminating it? Making sure that they are not keeping the neighbors up all night, that they're not destroying your sleep patterns, and that they just aren't being annoying in general. Okay, so you have a few ways to go about this. Number 1 is you need to be working with them consistently, disciplining consistently, and making it clear what message you're trying to send to them, which if it is to not bark, you need to make sure that you're rewarding them when that behavior stops. So clicker training is one of the best ways, in my opinion, to accomplish this. I will put a link in the description below breaking down what clicker training is, but essentially you're holding a little clicker. It's $1 on Amazon, maybe less, 50 cents, I don't know. But when they stop, you click. Them getting that noise, that audible noise, will start to program them that that is when the good behavior took place, and then you reward them with something as simple as a treat. It is the same way that I started training her to walk correctly, which I'll also put the link to that blog post in the description below about teaching these guys how to walk more professionally in a nutshell, or without the barking, and how to walk on a lead without pulling, that kind of thing. But it doesn't matter how you train them. If you have your own methods, or you're a dog whisperer on your own, train them however you want. But the point is simple. You just need to start, and you need to be letting them know when they're doing a good job. You don't need to be disciplining when they're doing a bad job necessarily, but you need to correct the behavior, reward it to get them to stop. Again, I recommend clicker training, and I am a believer in bark collars. But there's a catch with those. I'm not a believer in the shock portion of it. You do not need to be sending the electricity to get the point across. You can use the audible and the vibrate modes on a lot of the good shock collars. I have one for both of my dogs. I will put the link to in the description below of the ones that I use, but those also work fantastic, and they are much better for high stress situations. So an example of that would be you're walking on a popular trail or a populated area and there's just too much going on for them to be comfortable, and it freaks them out a little bit. It gives them some anxiety, too many people on bicycles, just a lot going on. You yelling at them, depending on how good you've trained them, may work, or it just might be too overwhelming for them. Those shock collars, on the other hand, if you use the vibrate mode, which does not hurt them in any fashion, that gets their attention a little bit better for whatever reason. Maybe that they know that the next level up is not going to be good. Not really sure, but I highly, highly recommend you try one. They're getting cheaper every day on Amazon, because everything on Amazon is getting cheaper every day with the competition. But I think I paid, it was stupid cheap for a nice one, like 30 bucks. It has separate modes, rechargeable remotes. You can control 2 dogs on one of them. They're awesome if you use them correctly. So when it comes to barking, definitely consider getting a shock collar. I think even my son will chime in on that. Rowan, you think shock collars are good for dogs or what?
Yeah.
Yeah? Say yeah, I think they're good. Say Luna needs one because sometimes she's a bad girl. He said, nuh-uh. They're best friends, so he won't ever say a bad word about her. Me, on the other hand, I also love her to death, but I've had the late nights with her, so I will say a few bad things about her every now and then. But look at her. She's just being a sweetheart, not barking. I'm making a video. They love these bones, too. Make sure you get them a bunch of these bones. I'll put the link in the description below for those, too. Cheap bones. I get those, like a box of 24 or something, for like, I don't know. Cheap. It's worth it. What? I don't know. It's a basketball court. It's a basketball court. Completely off topic. Anyways, guys, the barking, it'll happen. You need to work with them. It will calm down. It does get way better. She is coming up on, Rowan, how old is Luna? Like 2? He's just holding up fingers. I don't even know how old he thinks she is. She's coming up on like 2, 18 months or so. She's way better than she used to be. Stick with it. It will get better. All right, guys, that's about all I have for you when it comes to understanding how often these Jack Russell Terriers are going to bark, how to smack that bark right out of them. Completely kidding. Don't do that. It probably will not turn out very well for you. But that's all I really have for you in general about these guys and their barking, what you can do to help it, and what you can start implementing into your daily routines with these guys so that they start behaving a little bit differently moving forward. Me and Luna appreciate you greatly for stopping by. Again, give me one of those big thumbs up there down below if you like this video. Make sure to like the channel, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you are notified in the future when new videos come out. So make sure you tune in for those, and we will see you guys next time.